How's she going? Um, Spring's here. Nice day today. It's probably about 80, so I feel like doing the G-body shuffle here again soon. So I'm gonna put this together. This is my 48. This is actually a pretty serious motor, and I'm not bullshitting. It is. Um, I'll just go over it. So it's got a stroker crank, 4.5 inch stroke. H-beam rods, malt pistons forged. All ARP hardware, Howard's cam and lifters, Scorpion pedestal 1 to 7 rockers. You gotta hog out the slots pretty good to put a 1 to 7 on an Olds. It doesn't have the most cam. Its advertised duration is 281, 289, and it's got a 109 lobe separation. Valve lift with 1 to 7s is about 535. It's been zero decked, the block, and the heads have had, I think, 60 thou taken off. So it works out to 10.7 to 1 compression, which is really pushing it with a cast head. Their C heads, they've had the air bumps removed and they've had mild porting. They have big valves in them. Like there's like a blanc container between the two valves. It's got double springs with the guides cut down. Yeah, it's a double roller timing chain, a true roller, high volume pump with a hardened shaft, 8-quart pan, flow cooler, water pump, Offenhauser Portasonic, but from Mondello because he grinds off the Offenhauser logo, but that's what this is. This is a very good intake. If you ever see a Portasonic at a swap meet, doesn't matter if it's for a small block Chev, a small block Ford, an Olds, anything, this is a very, very good intake. I would pick this intake on par with anything. This is a great intake. A lot of people talk shit about Offenhauser intakes. Sure, some aren't the best, and they had that dual port setup that was made for gas mileage, and a lot of people put them on thinking they're going to gain power when it was not designed for power. It was designed for gas mileage, and it kind of gave them a bad rap. But a Portasonic is a great intake. I'd say the Victor Jr. and everything was probably copied off of this, very similar. Anyhow, I got large tube headers with the 3.5-inch collectors for it now. Before I was just running the high flow manifolds. Yeah, this thing's no joke. I'm hoping to. It's got a 3000 stall, turbo 350, 342 gears, 26-inch tall drag radial. I'm hoping to dip into the 11s with it. But for a street motor, this thing is like nothing I've ever been in, and I've been in a lot of cars. This motor is, I really don't know how to describe it. It doesn't care what RPM it's at. It does not care what gear it's in. It just pulls. The highest I've ever taken it is 6,000. I usually shifted probably around 55, but I used to run it with a 2500 Hughes converter, and it just pulled like a freight train. Like I'm putting a 3000 in it now, another Hughes, and I think it'll 60 foot even better. But yeah, I'm hoping to dip into the 11s. I can't see why it wouldn't. I'd say this motor is an honest 475 horse, which is equivalent to most people's 600, and it's probably close to 600 foot-pounds. So like I say, it does not care what gear it's in. It's you can be on the highway on a hard tire, and you can mat it in high gear, and it'll blaze the tires sometimes doing 70 miles an hour without even a downshift. Like it's it does well. I'll tell you that. It's a tire fryer. It's very hard to hook up. Very, very hard to make it hook up on the street with this motor, just because it's such a it's such a torque beast that it'll just break them loose and it just runs through the gears. But no, it runs extremely smooth. Obviously, it's got a cam and stuff in it, but you'd be hard to find a motor that's as street friendly as this thing that makes the power this thing does. Like this motor you could put in front of a stock converter and a 273 gear and it would be fine. But no, I'm gonna put it back together. I'm just kind of mocking up the intake manifold because it's hard to see, but I've cut the heads and the deck so much on this thing that I should have got the intake surface of the heads cut, because the bolt holes won't even bolt up. So I'm gonna have to probably take a carbide cutter and just oblong the holes a little bit on the bottom to make them fit. But yeah, I gotta clean it all up and I'm gonna paint it all gold again. I'll paint the intake aluminum. I put a breather on this because I thought it was a good idea. So I have on this car, I have a PCV valve, and then I have a breather on this side, and I thought another breather would not hurt just because crankcase pressure spinning high RPMs and everything. Don't ever put one of these on an olds because I think what happened is there's so much windage, even though it has a baffle down in here. When you're running real high RPM, you'll get an oily mist come out, and that's why it's like this. And this engine has no blow-by. It's not blow-by, it's just from the crank spinning real fast, and it kind of puts vapor out through there. There'll be none come out the breather on the valve cover, but it'll come out there, and I've noticed it on some other olds. So I'm going to put a cap back on it and call it good. But no, this is kind of my pride and joy of a motor. I've kind of thought I don't think I'm going to do it because I love my blue car, my blue G-body. That's my favorite car of mine. It's just a nice car to drive and cruise around in. But I've thought about this in the Lark, and it would probably go pretty damn good in that Lark, I'll tell you that. But I think I'm going to just keep what I have in the Lark and run it till it blows up, and I'll just keep this motor for the rest of my life as a street motor. But yeah, I'm just kind of seeing how everything, I'll have to throw some gaskets on it and see how the bolt holes are, and I'll have to pick up some Allen key styles for in between those ports, so I can bolt them on. But yeah, what else? Heat crossover, of course, is plugged. Crossover is plugged. What else? Oh, it's got hardened push rods. Rocker arm geometry is perfect. They're set up at, I made a video of this motor a long time ago. It's got like 40 thousandths of shim underneath each pedestal. So it's exactly at mid-lift, hits at 90 degrees, the rocker arm to the valve. I think I might have to stack a couple valve cover gaskets on, but yeah, we're looking pretty good here. Like I say, I really like this motor. It's kind of in a league of its own. I'm not saying it's the fastest or anything like that. It's just the amount of power it makes when you walk on it and how smooth it drives. It's a very unique mill, and yeah, 10.7 is really pushing it on a cast head. If I keep it cool with a 160 thermostat, it's got a 4-core rad, a big electric fan. It's alright, but I have had it shut off and stay running with the ignition off just because of dieseling before, but it would have to be pretty damn hot for it to do that. But yeah, just should I show my pride and joy. That poor Turbo 350 that lives behind this thing is going to have its work cut out for it. But yeah, you know, I could have built a small block Chev or a big block Chev much cheaper than this, but I kind of like to be different. I'm always the only guy with an olds at the track. I welded the divider on the head up. I did that before because I had the manifolds that everything was separated, WZ manifolds, or Z manifolds, I guess, for you American guys. But now I have Hooker Super Comps for it. So that just alone should really, that'll probably give me about 50 horse on this thing, running open headers compared to 2.5 inch exhaust through manifolds. So yeah, it'll be 12 flat for sure, but it might creep into the 11s. So we'll see. But like I say, nice day today, and I feel like getting this puppy put back together and hearing her roar again. Um, I've been watching a guy's channel. He goes by the Reluctant Gearhead. He plays with a lot of GM stuff. I think he knows everything about everything, to be honest, and I don't say that about many people, but I think he's built them all at one point in his life. And he has some old footage, like some of his knowledge and showing some of the things he's done over the years. So I would suggest you check him out. His name's Sam, I believe. He's my kind of guy. He's not full of shit. What he says is all fact and true. You can tell. Real knows real, and just listen to him talk. I picked up a lot of little things off him. So yeah, check him out. But yeah, I'll have to get her back together here, get her cleaned up, painted again, and put back in the car. And I'm excited to see how, with more stall, more rocker ratio, and headers, how it's going to liven up. Not that it was a dog before. Oh yeah, and an Offenhauser intake. I used to run a shitty Performer on it. So I'll put the Offenhauser with a 1 inch spacer on it, and yeah, she's gonna go. And we'll get her at the track this year for sure. But like I say, it's not even a question. It'll be 12 flat for sure. But if I dipped into 1180s, 1190s, that would be even better. But if it doesn't, oh well. All right, have a good one till next time, eh?